So everybody say hello. Okay.
Hello.
Who are you?
He's a Minecraft guy.
Who are you? What's your name?
I am Steve.
His name is not Steve. What's your name?
My name is Rosa Parks.
Okay. So we have Steve and we have Rosa Parks, but we are here today to tell you about 1 Corinthians 9. And it has some very, very good wisdom in it. First of all, it talks about how apostles. I don't know if you know what an apostle is, but an apostle is a person who saw Jesus. Now, we're not in the same time as Jesus, so we haven't seen him, but Paul, the disciples, they saw Jesus and they were his followers.
Yep.
Now, so in 1 Corinthians 9, Paul talks about how doesn't he deserve things because he works for God? Don't you think he deserved things because he works for God? Of course he does. So in 1 Corinthians 1 and 9 and verse, hold on, stop, Rose. You see, verse 5, he says, "Do I not have the power to lead a wife, a sister, as well as the other apostles and the brethren of the Lord in Cephas?" He said, "Or do I and Barnabas have not the power to forbear working?" And then he says, "Who goeth a warfare any time to his own charges?" So what that means is, does a soldier have to pay for his own gun, for his own uniform, for where he lives? No, the army pays for it. It also said, the Bible also says, who plants a vineyard and does not eat the fruit of it? So do you think a farmer plants things and then not eat the things he planted? No, of course he's going to eat what he planted. And then it says, who feedeth a flock and eateth not the milk of the flock? So if you have cows or if you have other things, wouldn't you eat the milk from the flock? So then it says, in verse 9, it says 1 Corinthians for the oxen. So what it means by that is, if you have an animal and it's working on the fields to help you to plant the seeds, wouldn't you let the animal that's helping you plant the seeds eat the food that it's cutting down? Stop. So it's saying that God said that he wants you not to muzzle the mouth of an oxen that treads the corn. So that means if you have an oxen and it's treading the corn, you can't put something over its mouth so it can't eat the corn. That's not fair. So God is saying if he wants even the animals to get a part of their work, he wants people to get a part of their work. So what Paul was saying is, don't you think if someone is doing the work of God, don't you think they also deserve physical things? Do you think so?
No.
You don't think so? Why not?
Because
what?
I don't think that is interesting.
Okay, Riley, what do you think?
I think that I think that I think he should bow to God.
Okay. So this is what Paul was saying. He was saying that even people who work in the temple, priests, are those who work at the church, they should be able to live off the things that they get at the temple. So if somebody brings money to the church, then the person who's a preacher should get some money too because they're working for God. So that was the point that Paul was making in 1 Corinthians 9. And then he says that what he's doing is not a necessity. Okay, so let's look at 1 Corinthians 9:16. It says, for though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. So he's saying that this is my job. I have to teach people about God. If I don't teach people about God, I won't feel right. So he's saying, what is my reward then? Verily, that if when I preach the gospel, I make the gospel of Christ without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel. So he's saying that if I'm teaching people about God, I'm not going to charge them any money because I want them to know about God. It's not about me getting money. I know that God is going to provide for me. I know that God has already said that if I'm doing things for him, he's going to make sure my needs are met. And then 1 Corinthians 9 at the end, it talks about how Paul said he's a servant to all. So for people who are in the church, he talks to them like people in the church. If people are Gentiles or people who just learned about Christ, he talks to them a certain way. And then if he's talking to somebody who doesn't know Christ at all, he talks to them a certain way. So he says this. He says, a servant to all. Verse 19. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself a servant unto all, that I might gain the more. Verse 20. And unto the Jews I become as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. And to them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law. To them that are without the law, as without the law, being not without the law, to God, but under the law to Christ, that I might gain them that are without law. So he's saying that for the different people he meets, he sees what they know or what they are or what makes them comfortable, and then he teaches them based on that. He says in verse 22, to the weak become I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means gain some. And he says, I do this for the gospel's sake, that I might be a partaker thereof with you. So he's saying, I'm doing this. I'm changing kind of who I am or my method or how I approach people so that everybody can learn about God. So sometimes I might be very formal and be like, ha, 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 God is so good. Be formal. Then other times I'm like, man, you know God is good, right? So he'll change how he's talking to people so that he can teach everybody. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So then he says, know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but only one receives the prize? So people get ready to race. So just think in your mind if you've ever been in a race. It's a lot of people who are at the start line, right? How many people are going to win? Just one. But what he's saying about the race that we're in, racing for Christ, we all can get a crown at the end. It says, verse 24, know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. Verse 25, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we are incorruptible. So he's saying that if a man is training for a race, he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that he wins the race. He's going to train. He's going to be fit. He's going to eat healthy. He's going to get plenty of rest. He's going to practice. He's going to stretch. He's going to do everything he can. And they're just doing that for a crown or a medal that they can get on the earth. But what we're doing, the race that we're in, so that we can get an incorruptible crown. That means that when we go to heaven, we will be crowned by God. Do you think you want to be crowned by God?
No.
Yes.
Of course you want to be crowned by God. So Paul says in verse 26, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight okay, you have to stop. Therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth air, but I keep my body and bring it under subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be cast away. So what Paul is saying that I'm gonna train, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna bring my body under self-control so that I myself won't be disqualified. So he's saying that I don't want to teach other people about God and then make a mistake myself. So there are things that I must do to train myself so that I can be ready. Okay? So all of us can be ready because we all want to get the crown that God has for us.
And
Okay. So let's say we're gonna go ahead and close out and we say the Lord's Prayer. You ready?
Yep. You and I'm ready. Are you ready? Always.
Okay, so this is
Well,
okay. So I don't think I said it in this live, but in my other live I said that we're the Fitzgeralds, and I said that my husband, their daddy, will be joining soon. All right. So here he is.
all right.
So he's gonna say the Lord's Prayer with us.
All right. Our Father,
Our Father,
who art in heaven,
who art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done
thy will be done
on earth
on earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us
Give us
this day
this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread,
and forgive us our trespasses
and forgive us our trespasses
as we forgive those
as we forgive those
who trespass against us.
who trespass against us.
Lead us not
Lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver us
but deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
For thine
For thine
is the kingdom,
is the kingdom,
the power,
the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever and ever.
forever and ever.
In Jesus' name,
In
amen.
Jesus' name,
Amen.
all right.
Hallelujah.
See you next time.
Peace.
The
Subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe.
Subscribe.
Smash the like button.
Smash the like button.